Well, hello, everybody. This is Pastor Jay, and I'm coming to you from Cornerstone Church, and we are here today to do our Friday Digging Deeper devotional. And all this week, we've been digging deeper into our sermon subject from Sunday, which was from Acts chapter 21, verse 40, through Acts chapter 22, verse 29. And the title of our sermon was An Indiscriminate Witness. Now, we've been talking about how the Apostle Paul had come back to Jerusalem, knowing that he was going to be persecuted in Jerusalem, and that turned out to be true. As he was going along in his daily life, he suddenly found himself in the middle of a riot, which he had inadvertently caused, though he was not guilty of really doing anything wrong, and he had been arrested. And as our story begins, we see that Paul is addressing the crowd that had rioted. And he managed to get them quieted down and to begin to hear the testimony of Jesus. But in Acts chapter 22, we see that Paul's witness of Jesus begins to fall apart when he tells the Jewish crowd that he had been sent by God to bring the message of the gospel, the message of Jesus, the message of salvation to the Gentiles. The problem, you see, was the Jews had a discrimination problem. They did not believe that the Gentiles could be saved. They did not understand why God would want to save Gentiles. And so they began to riot again as soon as Paul told them that God had sent the message of grace, the message of the gospel, to the Gentiles through him. And they began to say that because he thought this, he was worthy of death. The takeaway for us is for us to recognize that in order for Paul to do his job, the job that God gave him, he had to overcome his own inbred nature of discrimination. You see, Paul used to be like this crowd. By his own testimony in Acts chapter 22, he was just like them. He thought the Gentiles could not be saved. He was a Jew of Jews by his own admission. And so as such, he thought the Gentiles were of a lower estate. And in order to do the job that God had told him to do, he had to overcome that. The question for us today is, are we like Paul at the point of his arrest where he had overcome his discrimination? Or are we like the Jewish mob in our religion, thinking that there are people who cannot be saved? What type of discrimination do you have to overcome in order for you to fulfill the job that God is sending you to do? You must become an indiscriminate witness. Until we meet again, God bless you and be at peace.